Today we're going to do the handover video on the Peugeot Boxer panel van. We're going to firstly start on the outside and then we're going to move on to the inside. So you can see I've popped the bonnet just to show you underneath here a couple of the things. So just to point out what you're going to need to know, you've got your brake disc fluid, which is here, your power steering fluid, you've then got your washer fluid, and then finally your radiator coolant, which is just there, engine coolant rather. Moving on, you then need to, the main important thing that you need to know is obviously if you need to jump start the vehicle. If that is the case, you put your positive, which is onto here, so which indicates on the plus sign on the cap, so you connect via there, and then for your negative, your point just goes onto there, and then you can jump start the vehicle. Now the majority of things obviously you don't need to know underneath here, but they're just sort of the basics just to get you going. Once the bonnet's closed, I'm just going to come over to the passenger side. On the passenger side, this is where you can release the bonnet from, so that's your bonnet release catch. And whilst I'm here, I'm just going to quickly show you your remis cab blinds. This particular vehicle, you've got your remis cab blinds, which are in the passenger door, driver's door, and also the front section here. To operate these, all you need to do is simply unclip and pinch together. That'll then release it. And what I typically find is if you leave from the bottom, you can then connect the blinds up like so, and that goes for the same throughout the vehicle. Now, as a rule of thumb, if it feels like it's being forced, because these typically these blinds can be a little bit finicky, you're obviously doing something wrong. So what I'd say is take a minute, just reevaluate what you're doing, and then obviously take it back. When putting these back in, you need to simply again leave from the bottom, so then you can connect up like that. And as I say, that goes for the blinds and the remainder of the area. Coming around to the other side of the vehicle, on your driver's side, you'll notice that you've got a couple things that you need to know, like your cassette toilet, your hookup point, and also your gas. So, just to talk you through what you've got firstly your hookup cable, which is there. So obviously when you're on site, you can plug into mains electric, which is just done through that socket there. Next to that, you've then got your auto gas, which is your refillable gas. To fill this system up, all you need to do is remove the cap, so push in and twist, remove the cap, and then you can simply put the pump in to fill up the gas. Next to that, you've then got your cassette toilet. I'm going to open this up just so I can show you obviously the bits on the cassette toilet. Before I do, the main important thing is when you're removing the cassette is to always make sure that the blade on the toilet is closed, because if it's open, what might happen is you'll feel it obviously getting caught, and some people tend to pull it, and what that'll do is rip off the cassette and obviously break it. So just ensure that that blade on the toilet is closed before removing the cassette. Once open, you'll be able to see the cassette toilet. All you need to do when removing this is lift up this latch here and then simply pull out like so, and that releases the cassette. With the cassette removed, I'm just going to show you what you've got on here. So once emptying this system, what you need to do is pull out this pipe here, remove the cap. You'll then notice you've got two buttons here. This button you don't need to get concerned with. This needs to obviously stay in this position, because what this does is it makes contact with the blade, which is on the toilet, which I've just mentioned, which allows it to open and close the cassette. Always obviously make sure that it's in that area, obviously when it's going back in the cassette, in its area, and also when removing. Finally, you've got your vacuum, so another button on there that releases the vacuum in the cassette, and it allows all the contents to flow out in one steady slurry rather than clumping out. Once you've done that and you've tipped it, put some water in the cassette and then give it a swill out. Shake it from side to side, not back and forward like that, because you've got an arm in this cassette and you don't want to break that. And once you've done that, you're good to go. You can put the cassette back into the cassette area, which is just there. With the cassette back in where it belongs and locked up, we're now going to move on to your drain down points and also your truma vent. Your truma vent is here. In essence, this is the vehicle's chimney. So it does get quite hot, so just make sure that obviously you don't hang anything on there. Just be careful of that. And obviously don't cover it up. Finally is your drain down points. So your drain down points external to the vehicle, you've got your wastewater and fresh water. which are underneath here. So you'll notice firstly you've got a pipe here, and then a hose pipe extension, which is just onto the side. So for your wastewater, which is here with this pipe, to firstly empty that system, you'll notice you've got a blue handle there. If you simply turn that, that'll then allow the wastewater system to open, and then you can dump the water. What we typically say as well with your drain down points, you can leave them open when you're travelling, because at the end of the day it is just water, and the vibrations of the road are going to make sure that all the water comes out. Next, as I say, this is for your fresh water, which is this. Now this serves two purposes. This is the point where you can fill up from and also drain down from. So firstly filling up, what you need to do, similar to the wastewater, you've got another blue handle on this side. You firstly need to open that up, so turn the handle to open it up. You can then connect your hose pipe and fill up the system. That's then going to obviously fill it up, and then you can simply remove and then tighten back up that handle so it's full. To empty it, all you need to do is simply rotate that handle just like you did on the wastewater, and then it'll allow all the water to come out, and obviously for the system to drain down. And again, as I say, leave this open when you're travelling on the motorway or things like that, you're travelling off site, because it's just water at the end of the day. There's no harmful chemicals that can affect anything. So that's where you fill up from and also drain down from. Moving to the back of the vehicle, you've got your storage area, which underneath here we've got the carpets in at the moment. But one thing to point out is your isolator switch, which is there. This allows obviously everything to be isolated from the leisure battery. I wouldn't advise selecting that, only select that if you are advised to by a technician or myself. You've then got your awning pole, which is just there. For your awning pole, your awning connects onto the side here, as you can see. With your awning, you've got a winder. So it's a hook which connects into here, and then you can simply wind out the awning. In regards to using the awning, just make sure that obviously it's not a windy day, because as you can imagine it's like a massive sail on the side of your vehicle. But simply connect the awning, simply wind it out. You've got some legs in there which will then drop down. You then need to push them up, clip them into place to let them take the weight of the awning, and then simply angle the legs and wind it out. So simply walk it out. Do that vice versa as well, obviously when you're packing the awning away. And as I say, your awning pole will just store neatly in the back there. So that just about covers everything for the external bits on the vehicle. One thing that I did forget to mention, however, is obviously your fill-up points, which is diesel, which is just onto there on the passenger side. But with everything concluded, we're now going to move on to the inside. Moving on to the inside, you then notice that you've got your control panel, which is just on the entrance door as you walk in. You've then got your kitchen area and obviously your lounge, which is just through there. So firstly on your control panel, what you need to know is obviously how to turn everything on. So you've got your main isolator switch there, so if you click this, you can see that green button, that's going to activate everything. From there you can then turn your lights on, so just for example, I can click these lights and that'll turn your lights on here, as you can see. On this particular vehicle, you have obviously this system has come with an awning light. Now you've not got a door light, so that doesn't do anything, this button. However, it's just so you know. Below that, you've then got your pump, which if I click that, will activate the pump. In regards to your pump, obviously only run that when you've got water in the system, because if you don't, obviously it's going to burn out the pump. So just make sure that you do that. Just obviously check that you've got the water in the system. And then when you're on site, how to use the pump, what you need to do is turn the pump on, then come to your taps, including the shower. You then need to flick the tap on and turn it to hot. What that's going to do is it's going to drag fresh water from the freshwater tank, put it through the taps, and then spit it out at the end. It's going to spurt and splutter initially, and then when it's running steadily, you've obviously primed your system. Now, do it for the hot first, because that's going to prime your boiler as well, and then flick it over to cold and do the exact same. And then that way, you've primed all your systems. As I say, do that for your shower as well, and once you've done that, you can leave your pump on, because you've got isolation switches on each of your taps, so you can just, when you turn it on, it'll activate it and activate the pump. Moving back up to the control panel now, you'll notice that you've got your gauges here. So you've firstly got your vehicle battery, which is there, it shows you your level. You've then got your habitation battery, which again shows you your level, we're not hooked up at the moment. And then finally, you've got your fresh water, which shows your level there as well. And then you'll notice that you've got a wastewater tank button there, which once it's full, will light up. Moving on from the control panel, you've then got your kitchen. On the side of the kitchen area, as you walk in, you've got your socket. You've then got 12 volt point there, and then also you've got your step, which is on the outside of the vehicle. Moving in, you've then got storage, which are in these cupboards here, along with a bit more storage underneath here for pots and pans. Above this, you've got your oven and grill, and also your hob, which is all gas. Obviously this just works the exact same as you would a normal oven and grill, so simply hold in, turn it, feed the gas in, leave it for a couple of seconds as it ignites and lights, and then you can let go. Moving into the back, you've got your lounge area. This bit does convert into a bed. How that is done is you simply pull out these areas here. How that is done, this is just safety precaution. You need to lift this seat up. You can then pull this panel out. I'm just going to pause the video now so I can do that. Once I've done that, you can see I've lifted up the panel. That then releases this, so I can bring this across to this side here. That then rests on here to provide some support, and you've got the same thing which is on here to create the bed area. Once you've pulled that panel out, you can see obviously you've got this area which, using the infill cushions and slide it into the middle, you've got your big double bed. Now when you're using this as a lounge, you have got some storage on this side, a little bit of storage obviously at the back, which you can access from the back of the vehicle, and then you've got your boiler and your drain down point for that, all concealed underneath this seat here, which I'm going to show you now. With the seats removed, you can see that you've got these sliding panels as I've just displayed. To access what's underneath them, you need to slide the panels out all the way over to the other side so you can access your boiler. Now you've got your boiler, which is on this side. In all honesty, you won't be accessing this area much. It'll be underneath here that you'll need to know. But as I say, your trim and boiler is located there. Underneath the other panel, if I slide this out onto the side, you'll notice your leisure battery, which is just there. And then the main thing is your drain down point. You've got three main drain down points in the vehicle. As I've discussed, you've got your external points, which is your wastewater and also your fresh water, which I've shown you. You've then got your boiler drain down point, which is here. To drain down the boiler, and you need to make sure that you always do this, especially in the cooler months, because you don't want frozen water in the system. Simply turn this, and that'll dump the water. On the side, you'll notice that you've got a blue tab which is popped out, and on the top a black nib which is popped up. That indicates that it's open. To close this, you need to simply turn like so. That'll then pop the nib in, and then you need to simply push that blue tab in. Once you've done that, it is closed. A lot of people typically forget about this area, because what often happens is you'll open it when it goes into storage or when it's in the colder months. You'll then forget about it, and when you come to use the vehicle, you'll forget about this area, so you'll fill up the system, you'll then prime your system and prime the boiler, and it'll just be, you know, spurting out water. So just bear in mind that you've got that area, but you always need to make sure it's drained down when storing the vehicle. With everything reassembled, I'm just going to talk you over the final controls for the boiler system. You'll notice that you've got your radio, which is inbuilt here, and also a TV, which is all plugged in just there. You've also got some light switches on the other side there. The main thing that you need to know here is your truma system. So I'm just going to move the TV out of the way so you can see. So firstly, you'll notice you've got two. So you've got a truma control panel here, and then up at the top, you've got another one as well. So they both do obviously provide the heating for the vehicle, but heat different things, which I'm going to talk you through now. So When using the heating system, all you need to do, at the moment you can see this is off, this activates the boiler. So flick that down, just got my gloves stuck. You can see, obviously, I don't know whether you heard that, but that actually activates the system, and you'll notice that you've got an amber light on there. I'm just going to turn it off for now, since I've not got any gas in the vehicle. But that's, as I say, how you activate the boiler and turn it on. To then obviously turn the gas, power the vehicle with the gas, you need to come onto this system. You'll then notice you've got, just move these lights out. You'll then notice underneath the line, you've got a couple of options. So the first one is the van temperature. So the van temperature you can take all the way up to 30 degrees. If I press this dial in, which is here, that'll activate it and select it. By turning the dial, you can flick through the options. If I just press back, like so, you've then got your water heater, which is there. The moment it's off, if I flick through the options, you've got 40, and then you've got 60, and then you've got boost. So 40 is obviously when you're going to be having a shower, so you'll select that then. You've then got 60, which when you're watching the pots and pans, obviously you're going to select. And then finally you've got boost. What boost will do is that'll simply concentrate on heating the water. So instead of heating the vehicle space, it'll concentrate on heating the water. So just bear that in mind. Going across, you've then got your fan. Now I've not got anything selected, so it's just given the option of venting, so I can vent the area. Now if I was to select obviously a temperature for my vehicle, so just to give you an example, if I was to select 21 degrees, you'll notice that you've got a couple things up here which are activated. So you've got a flame, and then you've got almost something that looks like a gas canister. That's just letting you know that the system's being fueled by gas, which is just through there. You've then obviously going through to your fan, which is just there. You've got eco, high or boost. So you'll notice obviously now I've got this activated, you've got eco, high or boost instead of vent. So eco is obviously you know, a light intensity. High is more intensified. Let me just get back to this. What you'll typically find is if you don't select it straight away, obviously it'll go back to the home. So then you've got high, which is more intensified, and then boost, which does the exact same as the water. So, but in this case, obviously, instead of focusing on the water, it's going to focus on heating the vehicle. I'm just going to turn that heating off. Okay, that's better. So once that's off, you'll notice that obviously everything is back to normal. Now I don't know whether you noticed in that last video I got an error code, so it showed obviously a little warning triangle and an error code. The reason for that is I was trying to obviously run the vehicle with gas, so heat the vehicle with gas, which I've not got, as I mentioned previously. Now this will typically happen, so if you've obviously got no gas to the vehicle and you select your heating, all that's going to happen is it's going to heat the vehicle, try and heat the vehicle with something that it's not got. You then get an error code, and from there you need to reset the system. To do that, going back to the panel and flicking through the options, you firstly down here got your timer, so if you wanted to obviously set a time you can do. You've then got the time on the panel, but the main thing that you need to know is your settings. So scrolling through all these, the main thing is just the reset, which is here. If I click that, that'll then reset the panel just through there. You then need to wait 20 minutes once it's reset, just to let the system fully reset, and then you can reactivate it. To turn off this, simply hold in the button, and that'll turn off the system like so. Before moving back round to the front, I'm just going to show you your windows. On your windows you've got blackout blinds and also fly screens, which are there, and you've also got these clips, which once clipped in and turned, you can open up the windows like so. They're just on a clip, which will just hold it like that. And then when you want to obviously drop the window back down, simply push all the way up, and you can drop it down like that. You can also have these on venting, as you can see there, just to allow a little bit of airflow through. However, when you are travelling, obviously make sure that area is closed, because you don't want any wind seeping through. So pull all the way, connect like that, and then you're good to go. And that is the same for all your windows, and also your sky vents, which are here. So, got your blinds, fly screens, and then with this, flick that in, and then you connect it into place like that. And as I say with your windows, just make sure that they're all locked into place. Moving back forward in the vehicle, I forgot to mention earlier, you have also got your table, which is located in there. And opposite the kitchen area is your bathroom. In your bathroom, once this is open, you got your toilet, which is here. As I was saying, you've also got your tap and shower, which does connect onto there and doubles up as a tap and also shower when you're ready to use it. In the back here, the main thing that you need to know, as I say, is that blade on the toilet. So when using this, what you need to do is firstly open up the blade. At the moment it's closed. If I open up the blade, which is indicated by just pushing it towards the wall, that'll then open up the cassette. So if I was to lift this open, you could see into the cassette. You then need to do, obviously, all the waste will then drop into the cassette toilet. And once you've done that, you need to click this blue button, which activates your flush. That's then going to flush the system. Once you've done that, you need to close the blade to stop any odours from escaping. Just like so. Now, it's worth mentioning when you're using the flush, you need to make sure that your pump is on to activate it. You've also got a gauge here which indicates whether it's full. At the moment you've got a red light because it's indicating that it is full, because we've checked it, so we put water in the system and there's still currently water in there just to make sure obviously it's not leaking, hence why you've got that red light. Moving now past the bathroom area, you've got a bit of storage in here which I'm going to go into more detail, and then also your fridge, which is a Waco fridge here. With the fridge open, you've got a freezer here, and obviously the fridge which is just there. And then just to turn on the fridge, you need to turn this button, and then you can alter it depending on the power that you've got supplied. Just like so. Above this area, as I mentioned, is your storage area. You have also got a leg for your table. The main bit in here is also a few more controls. You'll notice that you've got your RCD breaker, your fuses, and also your solar panel regulator. Now with your solar panel, you don't need to do anything with, you can leave it as it is. It just is regulated by this system here, so just leave that as it is. For your fuses and RCD breaker, obviously if the vehicle ever trips, you need to come to this area, flick this up, and then there are your trip switches. Now this is dead handy. You've got a T button there, which is a test button. So for example, if you're on site and you've got it all hooked up, but you're not getting any electric to the vehicle, you need to come to this RCD breaker, you need to click that test button. If these switches trip rather, you know that you're getting power to the vehicle, so you know that there's not a power fault with the site that you're on, or the hookup cable, there's a fault with your vehicle. So from there, it allows you to isolate the problem further, and then you can go over to your fuses, which are just next to there. The majority of the time you'll do that, and you'll notice that it is actually the site which is at fault. However, it's just a little tip, just obviously to help you isolate that issue. Now that concludes the handover video on the Peugeot panel van. I hope you enjoyed.